Olé! Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. For most people, Valentine's Day is the day when love is in the air and a hot date with your significant other is an almost certainty. For people like me and Alex, it's not that. I'm okay with that. I'm not really the romantic type. Alex, however, is another story. You see, she's very needy and desperate for positive feedback, kind of like a dog. So, for Valentine's Day, she asked if we could do a romantic comedy. Out of the goodness of my heart, I agreed. Boy, what a mistake that was.
I want to start off by saying that I never requested this movie, nor would I ever request a rom-com. I don't like rom-coms. I think they're stupid. However, if I was to request a rom-com, it would be one that starred Australian acting legend Heath Ledger as the sexy Australian bad boy Patrick Verona in the 1999 cult classic 10 Things I Hate About You. Now that is a movie that we should be reviewing.
Well, Alex, while I'm sure that film would have been absolutely charming, we're not going to do that. Instead, today's film has utterly robbed me of any belief I had in love, happiness, and hope for the human race. This episode is dedicated to those who still hold out for true love. May this film change your mind. Prepare to witness the travesty that is Love on a Leash.
Weirdflix.
I had a lot of options for a Valentine's Day film. My Super Ex-Girlfriend, The Hottie and the Naughty, even one I found on YouTube called Just Another Romantic Wrestling Comedy. The link for that one is in the description below. Give it a watch if you're interested and see if you can guess why we didn't review that one. Instead, well, we picked this one. That was probably a mistake. Very rarely have I seen a movie that felt so fundamentally wrong and that almost physically hurt to watch. This movie has that feeling in spades. It's worse than even Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. It might even be worse than Funny Little Cars. Believe you me, there's nothing quite like Love on a Leash. Our film starts off with silence. Literally, no sound.
Okay, maybe they're just waiting.
Maybe they're trying to build tension before the romantic music swells? Nope, wrong. Guess again. I'm gonna spoil the surprise now and tell you that there is no music or sound besides dialogue in this entire film. No romantic background music, no pop songs, nothing. Well, that's not entirely true, but you'll see. After our completely silent credits, we meet our protagonist, a dog.
Oh, here is one. She is hot. Hey, watch me. Ugh, that's messed up. It's because I'm a dog, isn't it?
Why is he talking? Why does he sound like that? What's going on? This is gonna be one of those movies where I ask a lot of questions and none of them get answered, isn't it?
Through a voiceover that sounds like it was done by someone who does car commercials, we find out that apparently the dog is cursed to be a dog until he can find true love or something. It's not super clear, and the dog also appears to be getting his information from an Adobe After Effects sparkle, so I have my doubts. It's also really weird to hear this dog call people sexy. Really feels like we could have done without it. He comes across two girls rating men in the park. Paula is the one in purple, and Lisa is in green. Get used to that color, it's all Lisa wears. It's never explained why. These two are classic opposite friends. Paula dates a lot of men, Lisa doesn't. Paula wants Lisa to find someone.
Lisa would rather, and I quote, die a virgin rather than marry anyone who isn't a real man. Good for her.
That dog is nearby and tries to, I guess, hit on the women. His audio is much quieter now for some reason. This movie has forgotten a cardinal rule of making media: have good audio. People might ignore glaring camera issues, but bad audio is unforgivable.
This is a fact we here at Weirdflix are intimately familiar with, as we are constantly trying to make my dulcet tones sound halfway listenable. We're not succeeding.
Anyway, Lisa takes home the dog, and we hear the only music that this movie has.
I'm a dog driving in a car. I'm going to her house. We're gonna go far. Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's this dog's terrible, terrible singing. This is not the only time in the movie he does this. We see that Lisa lives in an all-green house. Where do you even buy something like that? We also get a sped-up scene of her bathing the dog. The dog sings again, and my desire to continue watching this is slowly being stripped away. We immediately are shown a woman trying on a dress that doesn't fit her as we meet Lisa at her job. Some kind of a clothing store. Here we meet her coworker, a character whose name is not on IMDb, and the store's owner, who is unimportant, so I will not bother looking up his name. Her coworker asked her out on a date, which she accepts, but also some creepy guy comes up and tries to convince her that he's buying clothing for his wife. Watch this.
Do you need something for your wife?
Yeah.
Okay, what color and style does she like?
Whatever you like.
Okay, what size?
She's exactly your size.
Okay, Well, what's your price range?
It doesn't matter.
I would tell you that this is the worst character in the film, but honestly, they're all this bad.
Back at Lisa's house, the dog makes fun of her for the fact that she only owns green clothes and that her whole house is green. He then proceeds to call her ugly, which is not really something you want to do if you're trying to hit on someone. She decides to give the dog a name, and there's a slightly funny joke here.
How about we call you Rover?
I already have a name. My name is Alvin Fwang.
Well, okay, maybe something with a little more class.
Like Alvin Fwang.
Let's say Reginald.
What are you, crazy?
You are particular. Why don't we call you Prince? That's what I'll do. I'm gonna call you Prince.
You mean like the artist formerly known as?
Lisa takes Prince shopping, and he's not having a good time. He shows that he's capable of picking out clothing, and a talent agent tries to hire him, but Lisa isn't in the mood. We now meet Rita, a friend of Lisa's mom, I think. She's a surrogate mother because she says Lisa's mom can't handle the LA smog. I thought this meant that Lisa's mom was dead, but I forgot there was an unimportant phone call between Lisa and her mom earlier.
Trying to remember the events of this movie is incredibly painful. Everything is all jumbled up, and making it coherent for you viewers is an almost Herculean task. I apologize if I get anything mixed up, but honestly, the version of events that I present is probably better than the one that's actually in the movie.
Anyway, Rita's purpose in this movie is to play matchmaker. That creepy guy from earlier is actually someone Rita knows, and wants to set Lisa up on a date with him. Lisa, for some reason, agrees to do this, and is now dating two guys at the same time. Her coworker and this guy. Now, everyone else she knows thinks she should date more than these two men. Paula apparently has a man for every conceivable situation, and Lisa's mom thinks that she should be dating 7 or 8 men. I don't know why everyone in this movie is so unlikable. It's like The Room if Tommy Wiseau was a dog. Prince is depressed though, as if Lisa marries one of these two guys, he's stuck as a dog forever. Why can't he just find another girl? I don't know. What I do know is that...
I need doggy Prozac.
I'll take a human one too, please. We now get to meet the creepy guy's mom. Creepiness must run in this family because this chick is crazy. She's measuring portions and has a whole conversation about what she expects out of Lisa. Listen to how this woman talks.
My grandson is only 10 years old, and we are very anxious to find a stepmother for him. I've heard that you love children.
Yes, I do.
This child has been raised using the latest scientific technology in nutrition, education, and psychology. He has an IQ of 170.
Wow, what a smart child.
Of course. And to be certain that he grows up to become president of the United States, we must ask a specific request to any prospective stepmother. She cannot have any children of her own. Furthermore, in order for her to not become pregnant, she must agree to have her tubes tied before the marriage.
I've never heard a character that's made me this uncomfortable, but something about this woman is just so wrong. Creepy guy's mom convinces Lisa she's not the guy for him, so it's on to her coworker.
Now is a good time to mention that there is no clear indication of how fast time passes in this film. It could be days, weeks, months, even years. And watching this movie feels like it takes a couple years.
They meet at her house, and he pops the question. However, things take a turn for the worse when it turns out that Lisa's coworker isn't all that attracted to Lisa.
I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not physically attracted to you. No, God, I'm sorry. What I mean is, I'm not attracted to any woman. All my relationships are with men.
It turns out that he needs to marry Lisa because he's actually gay and wants to hide it from his family. Lisa does not want to be a part of this and asks him to leave. Immediately after, and I'm talking like 5 seconds after, her manager from her job breaks in and tries to drunkenly threaten her into a date. However, Prince manages to chase him away, and at some point he sings again.
King of the castle! King of the castle that's also a dog and lives in a house that is green. What is that about?
Through this act of bringing her an umbrella in the rain and her saying she only loves him, he turns into a naked man. His voice is completely different than the one we've heard as a dog so far. Here's a comparison.
Oh, here is one!
Prince, your dog.
We are 30 minutes in. This movie is an hour and 25 minutes. It should be ending right here. Why is it still going on? This is the classic ending of The Princess and the Frog. He's a human. Now they can get married. Why does this movie still have to keep going on? Why am I even bothering to subject myself to this?
Well, it turns out that come morning, poor Prince, or should I say Alvin now that he's a human, has turned back into a dog. According to the glowing thing by the lake, it's because he's just using her and doesn't love her. Because of that, he's now a reverse werewolf. Dog by day, man by night.
I'll just take a moment to address the problem that I mentioned earlier. Prince is now a human. He can communicate with Lisa, through talking. He will presumably mention that his name is Alvin and not Prince. Despite this, for the rest of the film, Lisa refers to him as Prince. Why? Are you that self-centered that you have to refer to him by the name you gave him rather than his actual name? What's wrong with you, Lisa? What's wrong with me that I even care about this?
Hold on, Chris. I think we have a much bigger problem here than just the fact that she keeps messing up his name and whatever. I mean, they're married and presumably having intercourse, but isn't Alvin still metaphysically a dog? Isn't this really just bestiality? If not, then what sets him apart at night when he's a human than when he's a dog during the day? His physical appearance is really all that changes. He's still apparently intelligent and therefore not vulnerable to abuse during the day. So if it's just a matter of intelligence that it's morally repugnant if Lisa has relations with him during the day, what about intelligent animals? Monkeys, dolphins, Republicans? Can't they consent if they're theoretically intelligent, but pretty obviously not?
Hi, sorry to interrupt. Who the hell are you and what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, sorry about that. Huge fan of the show. I just thought your analysis of this episode was lacking a bit considering how deeply metaphorical and philosophically genius this movie is. So I thought I'd provide my own opinion a little bit.
Wait a second. Aren't you that weirdo who keeps commenting those long, drawn-out interpretations of the movie we cover? Oh man, what is your name? I want to say Dan. That's not right. Ken? Is it Len?
You mean the best thing that's happened to the movie industry since The Room and the best thing that's happened to your life since ices were installed in sheets? Yeah, that's me.
Fine. I guess you can stay. Might as well. Honestly, I'm not sure if I can make it through the rest of this movie alone.
Are you saying we can cuddle?
No!
Your loss. I mean, I'm much more romantic and polite than Alvin or Prince or whoever is.
Yeah, but you still look like a dog. Now let's get back to the movie.
What we're treated to from here on out is scenes of domestic life, but if your significant other was a dog half of the time. They take marriage pictures that remind me of Carol Baskin's, and within the course of what I assume is a few days, Alvin has reached the point of marriage where you'd rather channel surf than spend time with your wife. Am I right, fellas? This is because Alvin is mad that he can't make money to support Lisa. Part of this is because the magic glow said he has to in order to be a human full time, which frankly, it sounds like this thing is just making him jump through a bunch of hoops.
Cut the guy some slack, huh?
So Alvin decides to take the job offered by that talent agent earlier, and we get to see the people behind this agency.
He's fantastic. He's terrific. You'll love him. He even knows how to match clothes.
Great. Find him for me.
Oscar-worthy acting right here. Alvin gets the job after picking up 2 phones and is apparently paid pretty well after Lisa finds a box with hundreds in it. I like to think that that's the movie's budget in that little box. Lisa thinks he stole the money, but what actually happened is he filmed the worst dog food commercial I've ever seen. Look at this. I'll give it this, it's better than the movie it's in. And Alvin sings again.
It's time for you to know.
Where are you going?
I fight crime with ninjas.
He sings because the movie has decided that I need to be punished.
Paula happens by their house later that night, and Lisa has to hide Alvin because she hasn't told anyone she's dating her dog. Paula barges in and asks to shower, and later finds Alvin hiding in a sleeping bag or something on the wall. She yells at Lisa, which frankly is pretty presumptuous.
You barge into your friend's house in the middle of the night, demand a shower, and then proceed to lecture her about her life choices? You, Paula, are a terrible person. In all honesty, this film is surpassing Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure on my least favorite films list. This one actively angers me with its existence.
The next day, Rita shows up at Lisa's place of work, which is weird because I thought she got fired after her manager broke into her house, but let's just gloss over this like the movie does. It turns out Rita has brought Lisa's mom out to see her since she's heard about the man she's hiding in her house. She brings Alvin out to dinner and look how they eat.
How do you get eating wrong? I don't know about you, but When my friends and I go out to eat, we always silently raise our forks to our mouths in a synchronized formation.
They ask when they plan to get married, and I now realize I have no idea how old Alvin is. Is he immortal? Magic? He has no license or any other form of paperwork that comes with modern life. This is why they can't get married and there's such a problem with their relationship. Well, that and the fact that he's a dog. The next day, Rita comes to Lisa's apartment and fakes being sick so that she can interrogate Alvin. This leads to a very awkward chase scene.
Oh, that was a close call.
Yeah, that was something.
Lisa's mom and Rita get mad because Alvin doesn't show up to get a marriage license the next day, since you can only do that during the day, and he's a dog during the day.
Unrelated non sequitur. There's a lot of ducks in this movie. Every time they go to the park, they have an intro shot of a duck. I don't know why.
Alvin is still depressed about his situation, so of course...
I am so depressed right now. I need some Kung Pao chicken. I gotta get me some Kung Pao, man. Kung Pao.
Anyway, Lisa is apparently up for promotion in her job and needs Alvin to come to dinner with her boss. He can because apparently he can be human on cloudy days, which there has only been one of since the first time he turned into a dog. I'm not even going to dignify that with a question. He decides to go despite his reservations, and the only important thing about the scene is that Lisa's boss's son wants to be a movie star. Sorry, kid, but not if you're in this film. The son comes out and he turns into a dog, and he and Lisa have a panic attack in the pool because she can't swim. Look at this scene.
Dad, Prince just became a dog!
Big deal. I'm Alvin Schwein. How stupid. What kind of idiot doesn't know how to swim?
He goes back to the pond where the magic glow lives because he's decided that this is the last straw.
Hey, Ben, right? Mind if I ask you a question? What's your take on the glowy Adobe After Effects thing? What's its point in the movie? Why is it here?
I mean, this is pretty simple, Chris. It's really just the visualization of some supreme good. God, Mother Nature, or 2-for-$1 hot dogs at Sheetz. Either that, or it's ephemeration of some sort of concept which is often abstract to us, such as justice, feminism, chivalry, or 2-for-$1 hot dogs at Sheetz. This is relatively common in philosophy, in order to convey something which is really hard to understand, as you can see in Plato's pretty popular theory of forms.
You know, frankly, it's amazing. I hear the words that you're saying, and yet I cannot bring myself to understand a single one of them. It's like you're the human equivalent of putting a dictionary into a blender and then trying to read the liquid that comes out. How did you even get on this channel?
We went to preschool together, Chris. You owed me a favor when you spilled a juice box on me or something like that.
Hey, hey, keep quiet about that, alright? I don't want people thinking I actually know you.
Jeez, you sound just like my mom.
The glow gives bad relationship advice, and that somehow convinces Alvin to not run away from his problem. This does, however, cause him to run headlong into a car?
What? There's 5 minutes left in the movie. Why?
We flash forward and Alvin has apparently disappeared after that car accident, and Lisa spiraled into depression. She's a spinster now, as we see when Paula comes to visit years down the line with her grandkids. They look over pictures of Alvin, who, as I mentioned, just disappeared after the car accident, and Lisa has been waiting for him this whole time. Paula somehow thinks that Alvin will come back as an old person like them, and we're too close to the end of this film to be asking questions about it. Lisa gets another visitor, and it's an older Alvin, who has apparently become old and went to get a doctorate in business after he got reincarnated. I have so many questions. I'm not going to ask any of them because I know they're not going to be answered. They get married, magically de-age, and will now live the rest of their lives with their love on a leash.
Well, Now that Chris's summary is complete, I couldn't help but offer my own expertise on this absolute masterpiece. I think the most notable symbolic insight this movie has is the clear representation the dog has for the stereotypical sex-driven men. In fact, this predatory tactics and sleaziness toward the beginning of the movie, where he insults her body, acts innocent and hurt to take advantage of her kindness, and tries to sabotage her current relationship for his selfish desires, is most nearly symbolic of toxic masculinity and toxic sexuality. Similarly, Lisa's character is a representation of the epitome of innocence and purity. She's small, blonde, vulnerable, seeking relationships for the right reasons, and is seemingly obsessed with the color green, which probably symbolizes her pure nature. However, her friends, mother, and some random people keep trying to pressure her into situations and lifestyles which make her uncomfortable, but others deem healthy or normal according to their own standards. This relationship between her sex life and society is highlighted by her best friend, who constantly pressures her to sleep around in the beginning of the movies, but when she loses her virginity to a finally nice guy, nice being questionable and guy being even more questionable, she is brutally ridiculed.
I hated this movie. It's one of a select few that has made me feel just defeated by the time it ended. It has no purpose for existing. There's no redeemable qualities to it at all. I don't know how it got made or why it got made. If you're some kind of a sicko who wants to watch this just to see what made it so bad, you're in luck. It's available on the Tubi streaming service. Just Google Love on a Leash. You'll see it. But seriously, don't do this. I suffered through it, so you wouldn't have to. This is probably the worst Valentine's Day I've had in a long time. Well, tied with every other Valentine's Day. Luckily, I think I have just the thing that'll cheer us up. Next week, we'll be visiting the final installment in the Ginger Dead Man trilogy, Ginger Dead Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver. Until then, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Weirdflix. And remember, especially this time, Weirdflix watches what no one else will.